Right, Virgo, hi. Time for your reading for December 2020. It's a little bit early that I'm doing it, but I want to give you time to prepare because, this time of the year goes a little bit fast and the year itself has been a little bit crazy. So let's see what we got for you. So general reading, sun, moon, rising and ascending. Take what resonates. Remember, you still have the option of getting a free natal chart in the link down below. And let's see what we got for you. Okay, so period of December for Aries, sun, moon, rising, ascending. Let's see what's happening for you. My beautiful sort of funky retro thumbnail has been made by my beautiful friend, and if you need any graphic design work done or social media management, you can also check the link down below. It says AC Digital Marketing Solutions. Okay, so we're going to do this reading a little bit differently. The way that I'm doing it is you're sort of checking where you sort of are, the sort of 3D that you move from, and the 5D that you're moving towards. So the things that are not kind of working so well for you, and the things that you're moving towards that are working for you better. And then we are looking at, okay, what are the things in between that you sort of need to overcome in order to get where it is that you'd like to be. They are speaking. It's a whole handful of cards. So we're going to look at where you're sort of coming from, what brought you to where you currently are. Then we're going to look at where you are going. And then we're going to look at what are the things in between that are sort of like, holding you and stopping you and those sort of stuff. So we've got the Ace of Wands in the upright position. And then in the reverse position, we have the Seven of Cups, the World, and the Sun. They came out all in reverse. And Seven of Cups was first, the World was next, the Sun was after that. So, oh, my shirt is still semi-unbuttoned. There, things were not exactly rocking for you. Some of you actually were at a point where you kind of felt quite uncertain about yourself, quite uncertain about life. Almost like, what is the point to life even? Like, what is the point to waking up and to giving things a try? And, it's almost like for many of you, the sort of purpose to waking up in the morning is just kind of left. There was in a sense almost no point to anything anymore. Didn't really want to try anything new. It's almost like there was a sense of like no hope for the future. There was no sense of happiness, no sense of joy. And there was at some time there was a sort of like a point, almost like a what did you call it, universal sort of intervention that would have taken place, where you realize that, I'm horribly unhappy. I don't want to feel this way. I don't want to live this way. I don't want to be this, sort of person that doesn't sort of have, hope for the future, for myself even, it's there was a call for life in a sense to just make sense, to just do something, even if it was a wrong decision, even if it, ended up being the worst thing possible. And this does not necessarily have anything to do so much with the whole sort of coronavirus and anything like that. For many of you, it could have been actually been before that sort of period, where you realize that you kind of have to do something in this world. You were beginning to feel quite sort of blah blah, watered down. There was nothing particularly exciting that was happening. Life was bleak, it was boring, it was depressed, and so you didn't really want that. And so some of you, an opportunity came around that sort of ignited your soul. You may have made some sacrifices to get that going, some sort of personal sacrifices really, but you took the step. You took the step, you took a chance. There's quite a chance that was taken here. There's quite a risk that was taken here. So for many of you, you had to be really, really sort of brave here. You had to really go out there and in a sense, I get almost like prove yourself, you know, for some reason or the other. Um, but it's almost like you thought about it and it was really worth taking the risk. It was worth taking the step. The moon card keeps on showing up here for me, so I'm just gonna draw it because it keeps on showing up. And obviously, I feel that for many of you, you just sort of realize that you weren't really living the purpose of your life. You know, the purpose of life, in fact, in general, overall. You know, it's almost like you were lost in your own life. You know, and you were beginning to see that there's almost no point to being alive if this is the sort of, you know, life that you're going to be living. So, you know, and the thing is, sometimes we get ourselves at that point and you sort of do all the right things. You do what you're supposed to do. You know, you do your job, you do your family responsibility and your personal responsibility. So your sort of boxes are ticking. You're doing the things that you're supposed to do. But it's sometimes in doing all the right sort of stuff that we can kind of lose ourselves, you know, in almost like in the formalities of all the, you know, the proper right sort of things that you need to be doing. And I feel that for many of you, you realize that you weren't exactly happy. You were surviving. You maybe had, you know, what you needed to have in life, you know. So this is a tricky situation and it's very difficult to explain it to people sometimes because you can have everything sort of right in the eyes of the world. You know, you can have what people would call successful and, you know, the definition of happiness and joy and fulfillment and, you know, all those type of things. And but it could still be that it's not really you. You know, it's almost like being a stranger in your own life. And it's very difficult sometimes when we find ourselves in that position because it's a very personal sort of thing, you know, that everything could be right the way that they should be. Like on paper, it's right, but in a personal experience, it's anything but right. All right. So where you're going forward, okay, they say I should actually do your current energy first. So we're going to do your current energy first. What is your current energy? So what are the things that you are stuck at the moment? Because I feel for you though, some of the things that you are stuck at the moment is also some of the things that is sort of going into your present. Okay. Because what happens sometimes is when we move onwards, we go into sort of almost like a survival mode of sorts. But what I think what's happening over here, it's not so much a survival mode I have to do. It was more kind of like leaving everything behind. And it's all fine and well to leave things behind, to not attach to anything like that. But that in itself has got a limit as well. Sometimes we take it a little bit far. Okay, let's get you a message from the universe first, and then we're going to look at your overall energy. Because I'm looking at this card, the Page of Cups, looking at your current sort of overall energy message from the universe. And I like that card very much. For me, it's my favorite card in this deck, which is the Light Seer's Tarot. There we go. All right. So overall message from the universe, you've got the Four of Cups, you've got the Ten of Pentacles. Some of you are, and the Five of Pentacles. Okay. So you stepping away here. Look at this, Eight of Cups also on top of your deck. It's like this deck is really speaking to me today. This is very interesting. So this is basically where, you know, where you sort of realize that you're gonna, you're gonna leave behind what you need to leave behind in order to go forward. In a sense, almost to go and find yourself. And where you currently are, there's a it's almost like the heart is sort of kind of like beginning to call out. There's some sort of offer on the table. And I feel that for many of you, you feel that even though you were stepping away and it didn't really, this is almost like when one realizes that you were stepping away, you didn't really have a plan. That was sort of like the power of your situation because there wasn't a plan. So I'm stepping away, there is no plan. I'm going to trust the universe, I'm going to trust life, I'm going to have faith, I'm going to see what happens, but whatever doesn't work for me, I'm just going to leave it behind. If it doesn't work for me, I'm going to leave it behind. I'm not going to attach to it, I'm not going to worry about it, I'm not going to think about it, I'm not going to lose sleep over it, I'm not going to fight over it. No, I'm just going to leave it behind. So whatever needs to be sort of, whatever sort of doesn't fit in with this plan or sort of like doesn't kind of like agree with who I really am, I'm just going to leave that behind. And so here you are where you currently are, and suddenly, kaboom, there's like this emotional sort of connection. This could definitely be love, or it's like when we sometimes realize that we kind of have everything that we actually ever wanted without actually realizing that we actually wanted it. So you sort of find yourself in a sort of a time and space, circumstances where you didn't really quite expect to be, and of course it's the power of surrender, because life takes you where you don't expect to be. And so here's the sort of offer on the table in the moment, and you go like, oh my goodness, what do I do now? So there's a very sort of like very contradictory mind thing sort of going on at the moment, where with your universal message that I'm pulling for you, this is very interesting how this reading is going, by the way, where you sort of like, I won't really say that the offer that's coming towards you is bad. It's just a bit of like, it's like that sort of monkey wrenches being thrown there, sort of like into the toolbox, You didn't really have a plan, but even with not having a plan, it's almost like you're realizing now that maybe there was a plan, maybe there wasn't, so no, completely not a plan. And now it's like, this could be everything I ever wanted, but am I now sort of like giving up everything else? Am I going back to how I was before? Do I step away from this connection that is currently presenting itself? If I do step away, do I step towards something more? So this is interesting. This is kind of like stepping away from the sort of set plan, or but you didn't realize that you had, because there was no plan. There was like, it's going to be what it's going to be. And so now you kind of found yourself with this unexpected sort of set of circumstances where it's almost like your heart has kind of got a language of its own now. It's like that whole thing that that we don't even consider anything like that happening in our lives. We don't plan for this because we never really fathom, envision that this is going to happen. So now you're like, so what do I do now? Do I stay? Do I step away? And I feel that the choice obviously remains yours at the end of the day. I will never try to influence your decision, but there's a definite set of options and circumstances here that you didn't expect. There's sort of like a roll of the dice that you did not expect. Okay, and let's draw you one more card. What an interesting contradiction. Oh, let's call your reading that an interesting contradiction, because it most certainly is. Interesting contradiction. Definitely going to call it that. Alrighty. So we're still going to look at what's coming towards you. We're just kind of like where we are at the moment. So where you are, it's almost like you can't really deny that there must be almost like some higher sort of power or force, and it doesn't really matter whether you believe in that things or not. It's almost like you get to a point where you realize like there must be more at work here than I sort of, envisioned or fathomed, or yeah, it's just like you're a little bit different to how you usually are. 3 cards, more than 3 cards flipped around. Oh, this is too many cards. 2, 4, 6. Okay, let's look at all 6 cards, because also with number 6, you know, it's a number of great hope, and when we turn it around, it becomes more. Let's see what's at the bottom of the deck. The 2 of Wands in reverse. Oh boy, are you confused. All right, so we've got the 8 of Pentacles, the 9 of Pentacles, the Hermit. I'm gonna have to make some space here. Let's put it there. You've got the Hermit, Temperance, Judgment, and the Wheel, or the Wheel of Fortune. Definitely an interesting contradiction. You did not see this one coming. You did not see this one coming at all. And it's I think one of the things that bothers you also quite a bit here is that, you know, you couldn't really quite plan for what's happening here at the moment, because you didn't see it coming. So you didn't know it was coming, so you couldn't really plan for it. So you're kind of thrown in 2 different directions here, you know. But it's interesting, because the one direction throws you to yourself, and the other direction also throws you to yourself. So it's almost like, which version of myself do I choose? Which, now when I think about that, might be a better title for your video. This is such an interesting reading, you know. So which version of yourself do you sort of choose here, you know? And there's a release taking place here. There's an embracement or embracing of your own energy taking place, of your own power taking place here. Many of you are at this point where you, and this is a bit of a wild one, you're sort of like embracing a power within yourself, an energy within yourself, a beauty within yourself, that it's a little bit sort of off-center, for the very simple reason you were never really quite aware of the fact that it was there. But now in retrospect, it's almost like one realizes that it was there all the time. So it's like imagine if you were blind all your life. You were born blind, and you know, you're well into your life, your years by now, and you're a very happy, you know, sort of fulfilling person. You know, you've come to live quite well your life where you can't see anything. And so now somehow, you know, one day you wake up and you're just able to see. It doesn't really matter what you see, you know, whether you see you know, a very sort of concrete city, or you see the sunrise. It doesn't really matter what you see. It's going to be wonderful for you. And you don't, you know, this is where we get to the space where you don't even realize that you've missed this, because it was never an option for you. You had nothing to sort of compare it to, okay? Which is actually quite lovely. And what's also happening, which I really love here, is that there's a final acceptance between what you can do and what you can't do, who you are and who you're not, what you're too old for, what you're too young for, etc., etc., etc. And honestly, you're rolling with the punches, you know, and being like, oh, punch, okay, I gotta roll with you, I'll roll with you. So where is this taking you going forward? Love is in the air. Love is in the air. Right, let's just move it over there. There's one more thing that I need to tell you. What is it? You are not yet seeing because you don't want to see. Some of you are scared. Not so much scared, more like nervous, a little bit afraid. Alright, so what you're going towards, what's coming towards you? Where's the situation going? The 8 of Swords. So you're getting to see, and I feel this is quite interesting. This is when you're getting to see sort of like the shadow side of yourself, the parts of you that are holding you back. But instead of making it right or wrong, you kind of, there's a lot of like reflection happening over here with ways in which you held yourself back in the past. It's a brand new sort of start coming on for you. A lot of you have been feeling rather drained, okay? There was a very much a sort of survival type of mode thing that was happening over here. And that in itself could have a lot to do with what was happening in the world lately. You felt you had no choice, you had no options, you couldn't even take the option to sort of be you. You know, you didn't know if that was a viable choice. And with the Three of Wands now, the Two of Cups, the Six of Swords, and the Chariot. This I should draw one more, but I first need to explain to you. Okay, so you're getting to see options here that you didn't know were possible. You know, you're aligning with the present. There's a sense of present alignment, very powerful present alignment that's happening here for you. New possibilities, new bonds can be tied, new friendships. Definitely could be love. There's a lot of sort of introspection taking place over here, deliberately, in a sense, looking at what are the things holding me back, you know, getting the treatment that it is that you need to get, whether it is that you need to get some sort of test, or, you know, maybe speak to somebody professional like a psychologist or a wellness practitioner, or, you know, whatever. Sort of doing what needs to be done with the focus of going forward, and you are moving forward so positively. Okay, card just fell out. There we go. Four of Swords. Healing the wounded heart. Definitely healing the wounded heart there. Alright. Let's see. And we all know that I'm going to call the reading that now. So beautiful. Healing the wounded heart. Let's get you an oracle card. Oh, there we go. And if the reading resonates with you, more than welcome to like, share, comment, subscribe. If you're not subscribed, for all of you that always support me, I really appreciate it. And even say it, my name is Adrian. For those of you that don't know me, I'm an intuitive healer, holistic wellness practitioner, and I also practice spiritual regression hypnosis. Okay. Grounding. Go deep and explore your roots. Who are you really? This is the exploration of what you're doing at the moment. Finding out who you really are. What is your truth? What is your honesty? What is your essence of life? Okay. Thanks for your time.